Manners, respect, people. Manners, respect, people. Manners, respect. How everybody doing? Whether outside I get nice. Just feel atmosphere feel lighter, as me say. From that cold, no movement. But the funny thing, some people heart cold like outside, you know. Some people heart is really colder than outside, tell you the truth. It's frozen. People heart frozen with no love inside. People them dash for humanity. People them say it's not worth it. Worth it. People them say it's not worth it. Yes, I don't really care. Doesn't matter to me. Right, people? It's yellow month. It's what you have to share. Right? It's good morning, good afternoon, have a nice day. If you have nothing good to share, you can always share a smile. I'm gonna tell you some things that people share with other people. Sometimes it's too much. That's not sharing at all. That's overbearing. uh, tell us that the things that I learn and I got through and I understand. I guess it's supposed to be in dosage. We're supposed to, you know, care in dosage, not too much. And thank the people them were send me encouragement and text to keep up what I'm doing. And thank you for the appreciation. Thank you for the support. You can always tell me which topic I can talk about and stuff too, you know. Like again, it's our story, our history. So those things are like the key things when I say I rather stay in that corner. Finance. There's so much different aspect of past, present and future that we can highlight and look into, because every part of it is such an adventure. It's such there's always a story in every story. And I love that. And so now that me find these things, right? And I can relay onto other people and get to learn more about us. I enjoy it. Because the last night, the last live I do with Rosewood, I just just couldn't comprehend. So one lady couldn't say really what happened for change. Well, I think I wonder if them PR I don't know I people. You said time I go through them things and me start think differently, because you know say in all of our history there's always sabotage, there's always backstabbing, there's always treachery. right through. Ah, well, I'm gonna tell you, say there's all different side of the kind, front, back, top, side, in between, like Lord. But it's exploration of us, right? Okay, so one of the things them people me say several times I would I like to look into this because me hear it a come up all the time, right? And just the vibes when me hear, right? It's like, oh, can that me say we're all in the same boat, different situations, similar situations, right? We're all in the same boat with similar situation. All right. So when we in this boat with similar situation, all we have to do is come up with solutions, right? Adapt myself. Since we're solution driven, right? Why can't we come up with solution instead of keep on going over the problems? And the problem is always, oh, you're different from me. I'm different from you. I eat curry chicken. You eat curry stew. I eat chicken neck and you eat chicken foot. Like them things they know it's will never ever ever make a difference in how we society grow. You hear how talented the Ashanti tribe them was, but it's like it was different tribe. Not everybody was the same. It's just so if you write a book, that are the first thing we have to me have to stress all probably all the whole book of a based on understanding say we might not all be same, but we are in similar situation. So we're supposed to have similar goals. Why do we have to spend so much time on separation? Jeez, people, it's getting so it's just getting uh, it's just not moving anything in the right direction. That's all may I say with all of this separation, right? So me tell you in time me hear about this F FBA. Me did hear certain talk about it, right? And I say, how can these people say this stuff, right? Okay, and say all of these stuff. All right, so then me start look into it and then say, okay, let me do a live on it, part one at least, right? So the person who is the founder of it is Tariq Nasheed. I'm gonna look him up in the encyclopedia, right? Uh, Tariq Nasheed is an American film producer and internet personality. He is best known for his Hidden Colors film series, as well as his commentary and promotion of conspiracy theories on social media. uh, Again, this is just the introduction, people, so we always have to find out more about these. Okay, so Nasheed was born in Detroit, Michigan, and spent most of his youth in Birmingham, Alabama. Okay, so in 1991, Nasheed moved to Los Angeles, where he began his career as a rapper and late as a dating expert under the K-Flex persona. So he was a rapper before, okay? Before transitioning into documentary filmmaking, many of his dating books give instructions on how to be a pickup artist. Oh, yes, 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 yes. I remember him. I remember him. I remember a little about him because I mean, I know how you're gonna make one book about how to be a pickup. I wasn't not that's not something that I wanted to pick up personally, right? So I heard about him before. So not to say I never ever heard of him, but I heard of the book and they had some controversy about it. In 2000, Nasheed had his first acting credit in the mockumentary TV series. What's a mockumentary? Oh, a mockumentary is a type of film or television show depicting fictional events but presented as a documentary. The term originated in the 1960s but was popularized in the mid 1990s when this is Spinal Tap director Rob Reiner used it in interviews to describe that film. Okay, mockumentary. Never heard that before. Okay, so The Awful Truth by Michael Moore. In the second season episode Taxi Driver, where he interviewed politicians in Washington, D.C. about allegations of taking money from lobbyists, including Mark Felf, who served as Deputy Communications Director to then presidential candidate George W. Bush, U.S. Representative Tom Lantos, and political campaigner Nick Nerat of Every Voice. Nasheed produced the 2011 documentary film Hidden Colors: The Untold History of People of Aboriginal, Moor, and African Descent. Nasheed's follow-up film and DVD, Hidden Colors 2: The Triumph of Melanin, was released in 2012. I never hear about the movie. I still. In 2013, Nasheed released the horror film The Eugenist, okay, which he also wrote and directed. In 2014, he released Hidden Colors 3, The Rules of Racism, and co-produced The Sweet Blood of Jesus. Okay, so The Rules of Racism and co-produced The Sweet Blood of Jesus, a remake of the 1973 movie Ganja and Hess with director Spike Lee. In 2015, Nasheed was an associate producer in the short documentary film Wilmington on Fire about the 1898 Wilmington Massacre. Okay, so the Wilmington Insurrection of 1898, also known as the Wilmington Massacre of 1898 and the Wilmington Coup or the Wilmington Coup of 1898, was a municipal level coup d'etat and a massacre that was carried out by white supremacists in Wilmington, North Carolina, United States on Thursday, November 10, 1898. Wow, again, I forgot to do one live on that. In 2023, Nasheed opened the Hidden History Museum in Los Angeles. The museum features current and historical black figures. You see, um, me really like the fact that me did hear about him open one museum, and for him to accomplish that, when him did I talk to Professor Small about that, Professor Small said him opening up in a record time. Now Umar Johnson now, him open up a school from, trust me, he's opening up a school for a minute now. And trust me, he's a smart person, but again, me have to go do a highlight on Umar Johnson, because I tell you, say, some of the things we him talk about them make sense. But just because him talk about it and him say him a do it, it just tell you Abraham Torrey in 3.5 years the accomplishment of the man accomplished in a Burkina Faso. So it's you know as we proceed, people. So Nasheed is the lead singer of the R&B musical group Mink Slide, which debuted in 2018. Mink Slide's first album, Egyptian Musk. Okay, it's not. I'm just, I not laugh. It's just it's just the name sound funny. That's all. Egyptian Musk debuted at number 12 on the Billboard's R&B albums chart. Okay, views and reception. Nash Tariq. Oh, let me just put him near Nasheed. So okay, Tariq Nasheed is known online for his controversial commentary on race. He's a proponent of foundational Black American and ideology and movement he founded. Okay, so him founded. Because me did hear him name. I'm telling some people me hear people name, but when it's not highlighted or like more information, no. And then it's for me to find out. But me tell you say when he come out with the how to pick up chick, me I say okay, what me can learn from a person who write a book like that, right? Okay, so him say he is a proponent propon, proponent proponent of foundational Black Americans and ideology and movement he founded, which is defined as any person classified as Black who can trace their bloodline lineage back to the American system of slavery. To be designated as an FBA, at least one parent must come from a non immigrant background. Exclusion, right there. So, that match I show you. When me hear the OM, I did hear a conversation and it was a Jamaican did a talk to him, and OM did a talk down to the Jamaican. I just shake my head and I say, okay, you see, even if you're smarter than a person, next person, you know, if you make the person look stupid, unless the person just come out and just want to be stupid. But you can't talk down arrogant, it's if we have a reason, there's no need for certain things. I am not supposed to be here challenging you and saying, wow, I won that round. I won. It's so when me hear my talk to the Jamaican brother, and I say, boy, the man never say nothing disrespectful. The man just in point in views him just a point out, and this a man that just going crazy. So that's why I never call into him channel still, but me listen to him, and his view is just like how Ed Deboah did come out and say, oh, we are above this and we are this. This is what it sounds like sometimes when this gentleman talk. So him don't kick out and say nobody. Non-immigrant background. So we out of that in the United States of America. Nasheed believes that FBAs must seek out repatriations for their own and that American-born descendants of the American slave trade have not adequately sought out resources for themselves. Nasheed is known for his use of the term bed wench and the related term Negro bed wench mentality. He uses the terms to refer to black women who date interracially. Okay. Quote unquote bed wench and quote unquote Negro bed wench mentality. Some all creative more language. Ah, people, I am just saying, me I learn to, I am learning people. Okay? All right. So what him call the man them? Okay, all right. So as we continue, people, he revived and popularized use of this term, which historically was used to disparage black women who were great by their masters during slavery. Wow. He revived and popularized use of this term. Negro bench went that one same thing. Okay. What them have on this, I'm gonna come back and I use the same thing like what them use again. Eh? Wow. Wow. It surprised me. People say him can't have them views on people support him. Just me tell you, say the N word is not a good word for we use, right? Oh boy. But telling you, so sometimes when things I get kind of touchy, people. Even for me. Even for me, people. All right. Uh, so Ebony magazine described Nasheed's conception, con again, of the term bedwench as a put down of successful black women who challenged the institutions of black patriarchy. Okay, all right. But that to me, successful black women are not included in this, yeah. Because it matter interracial marriage, right? Who date interracially, so all that have to do with successful black woman who challenge institution of black patriarchy. Those are successful black women. All right. Nasheed also uses the term buck breaking to refer to the sexual abuse of black men. So, particular in the context of slavery via a documentary of the same name with Mel magazine, described as containing uncooked nonsense and being largely inaccurate. According to Refinery 29, Nasheed is notorious for his misogyn, Lord have mercy. People, big word again, big word. It's I don't know what it is. SMIS misogynist. Yay, misogynist. I'm telling you, say them big word here, people. What's okay? What's his hold on? Me soon get to him PhD and masters and all of them things there. Okay, so I could just go show the big word where people use and okay, but this is according to Refinery 29. People have to understand enough because if we don't understand, we're gonna be confused. I'm confused. Okay, so Miss Ajani, Miss. So, all right, we could skip it this time. Is hatred, Mr. Janice, Mr. Janice, Mr. Johnny, is hatred of contempt for our prejudice against women or girls. It is a form of sexism that, Lord of mercy, it's a form of sexism. Why can't we just use sexism, misogyny towards women? Why we have to use, okay, again, some women, girls, this form of sexism can keep women at a lower social status than men, thus maintaining the social misogyny of, of, of patriarchy. Misogyny has been widely practiced for thousands of years. It is reflected in art, literature. Okay, so queerophobic. Queerophobic intentionally or unintentionally remove LGBTQ alphabet groups or people from records or downplay their significance. Okay, their significance in what? Which includes lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, all kind of people. This ensure can be found in a number of written and or all them are use that they were the so text, including pop. All right, xenophobic. So they must say this a man have all of them. Oh, wait, they must say this a man have all them. What you call it? Let me check this out first because is the fear or dislike of anything that is perceived as being foreign or strange. Oh, so that's why I'm talking down to everybody. So okay, disdain. It is an expression that is based on the perception that a conflict exists between an in-group and an out-group, and it may manifest. Well, it should be infest itself in a suspicion of one's group's activities by members of other groups. That's a lot of explanation in that day. Same thing there. All right, and often a historical commentary on black people. All right, me not have my bubble gum in my mouth. Me not chew pan no candy. But them word are some big word, and it sound like some me chew pan candy and bubble gum. All right. I'm just saying, people, because I pure big word. It's all big words in these. All we're trying to find out is who is this person, right? Okay. A historical commentary on blackness in America. Stephen Kurz in the New York Times Magazine refers to Nasheed as a conspiracy buff. Lord have mercy. So this a man have so much. Okay, all right. So again, this a man I don't really have no friend except the friend them who believe in I am friendship. No, sir. Ah, all right. So doing the big thing there, demic thing. Nasheed was highly vocal about his distrust of the Jamaru. He opined more big word. Okay, then can't just subject this someone to so much big word, eh? Okay, he opined that they are using yet another black non-FBA doctor to do the COVID thing. Okay, all right. Notice no one has given a scientific reason as to why we are only seeing black people injected, and this new vaccine, and that the white powers in control completely ignore requests for repatriation. Decent employment, decent education, decent housing, no police killings. In May 2018, Nasheed and his family were swatted by white nationalists. What that mean? Swatted? Oh yeah, okay. Swatting is a criminal harassment act of deceiving. Jesus. Oh my goodness. Wow. All right, as we continue, people. So swatting is a criminal harassment act of deceiving. Oh, it's a criminal harassment act of deceiving an emergency service into sending a police or emergency service response team to another person's address. This is triggered by false reporting of a serious law enforcement emergency, such as blow up, threat, uh, domestic violence, box up on all of them. No, sir. All right, so white nationalists. Now, white nationalists are the people them what they call is a type of definitely is a type of critics. I mean, what you call it? Lord of mercy. No, sir. I can't. What you call them little creature there? Yeah, them thing there is a type of racial nationalism or pan nationalism, which all them people use love them cha, pan nationalism, which spouses which spouse espouse. What kind of word them yeah? ESPOUSES 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 poses possesses what? Oh my goodness. They believe that white people are a race and seeks to develop and maintain a white racial and national identity. Many of its proponents identify with the concept of oh one more concept over here so again of en, into state people. I am learning about these stuff. Come tell you some most of them things here, right? It's not something that we talk about. We just hear about these stuff. Okay, white nationalists now. These people want to be by themselves. Me not understand what their problem is if they want to be by themselves. I don't get what the problem is. If they want to have them own ideology, which is their superior and whatever, okay, then fine. Them can have them own competition with themselves. Me not understand that. Why go? Okay, I tell you, say most of the time, when you go about your business, the critics them is always gonna sit down there and criticize you. Meanwhile, you never see them. This is why I'm saying, people, continue doing what you're doing. Continue. Take a deep breath. Continue. Take a deep breath. Breathe through your nose. Take a deep breath. Live your life. Do your best. Be the best of you. That cannot be stopped by any one of these things, people. Several calls were made to the Los Angeles Police Department, falsely claiming that Nasheed had kidnapped and tied up his wife for not. Oh my goodness. How much people get charged for them things? Yeah? That may I tell you, them people that sit down, right? And I do them things here. And them have the money for do them things here. Them not pay out no money to nothing. Them not pay no employee nothing. This is where them have the money I do. These things. So when go back to Africa, say ask for what you're worth, because this is where them have the money them I do. When we listen to Rosewood, right? The people them a go about them life. They were going about their life, living their life. And it's always interrupted by outsiders. Okay, so despite this man is all of them things here, what is it to do with these people? I do not when I'm telling us that people, it's not everything we agree with people with. And there's many things I can see I don't agree with this person with. But we have to understand. We have to understand what divides us, right? This is why Mr. did want to do a highlight on it. Him have a YouTube channel thing there, right? I'm gonna tell you, say, sometimes I listen to him. I don't agree with a lot of stuff he says. And when he was talking to the Jamaican gentleman, I didn't agree with how he was talking to the Jamaican gentleman. So this is why all of them things here come up in this situation. But just because he might carry on with antics or whatever, if he's not breaking the law, why are you guys forcing the law on him? So he married and have 3 kids. So in some sense, he's indoctrinating his kids in whatever his belief in is, which is his prerogative, right? Because he married and him have somebody who love him. Okay, so that's what the encyclopedia spoke of this gentleman, and with what I've heard from him spoken on several occasions, right? My conclusion is yes, he has an idea for him to get money to get paid his way, right? And him getting paid, it's only a select few is gonna be getting paid, right? Just like before when all right, Bukati, Mr. Bukati, yes, when Mr. Bukati was saying we should use utilize our skills, build up our own businesses, create our own wealth, right? Then we have opportunities to integrate into other communities. We have our own respect, right? And then ED Debois or whatever comes along and saying, hey, forget about all of that. Forget all of those. Nobody wants to pick up, like, well, nobody wants to work for. I'm telling you how we want come, like, these are thoughts where people give other people to think, and these people don't have a choice of picking out sense out of nonsense. Because when Booker T. Washington create everything and educate all these people, it's proof. Say it's proof. Say it work. But somebody come and attack, dress up in a suit and slick back, curl up mustache, and I tell you, well, we kick the door in. We kick the door in and demands our jobs. What job? We don't have no job there. I feed them job. I feed them business. This is what I always say, minding your own business, mind your own business. It always comes down to mind your own business. Even if your business is not successful, it's still your business. So here, listen to this man talk. That sounds just like what E.D. Dubois was talking. And when E.D. Dubois, tell us the people, it's not, trust me, I have to pronounce his name properly. But just the fact that this man came along and had other alternative for the community, it just irks me sometimes. That's all. Just to see, right? Every time we're building it up, it always gets demolished. It's just, and then it's not just from the outside, it's from the inside sometimes. So one of the things that I'm gonna look upon is okay, so I didn't look at it, but I came across this it was this um YouTube channel. I'm gonna tell you, say, the information is like, so me ask, yes, I know AI is always listening, AI is always gonna help out in certain ways, but right, when you change your feed, you're gonna get different information from different places. right? So this channel is we need test for. Okay, so what okay, Weyni TESFAI test for. I'm telling you, some people, I am not a specialist in these languages, right? In the English language, I can only do my best. All right. So I was listening to her and she was explaining, right? Well, she was talking about why this is divisive the way these people speak about separation of us, right? So when I listened to her, she made sense. She was breaking down um everything that I read about this gentleman, right? I don't know this man. What's on in it's there, right? So when she broke down what she thought of this, I agreed with her. I mean, I never got agree with her, but just listen to her, people. Come tell us that it's these people are way more educated. She has a YouTube channel. I don't know if she's a doctor, but she did explain a little bit of her life. But as we proceed, people,
Episode is a direct response to an email I received after my last video about Black identity and why some Africans don't want to identify as Black. This email came from someone who identifies as a foundational Black American and who explained to me why they feel abandoned by other Black and immigrant communities and why they believe that FBA's divisiveness is justified. So, today I want to break it down piece by piece why the victim mentality in FBA's rhetoric is dangerous and self defeating, how FBA exceptionalism ignores the contribution by Africans to the Black liberation struggle, how US imperialism destroyed African nations, setting back the entire Black world, and last but not least, the ridiculous claim that foundational Black Americans are indigenous to America and have no ties to Africa. I want to approach this topic with honesty, clarity, and facts because conversations like these are so important. But we also need to unpack the problems with this mindset and how it contradicts historical and modern realities.
okay. And again, people, I listen to it 3 times already, because me tell you say sometimes you listen to something, and if you listen to it again, you understand certain things. And it's so important for us to understand what I say. That's why I say me want highlight things, because it's the understanding when we have to get across that we have to get in our head as we proceed, people.
Modern realities. Welcome to Plan B Back to Africa. My name is Wayne. If you're new to this channel, welcome, Karibu, and Salam Salam. On this channel, Plan Back to Africa, I share my journey of leaving behind Germany and settling in Nairobi, Kenya. And I also share my journey through the African continent, the beautiful motherland, together with my 2 children, and what I have learned along the journey. I have studied cultural anthropology and African studies with a focus on the construction of identities. And I always love to share my knowledge with my audience about the social political realities on the ground. Now, before I break down this email point by point, I want to read it for you. Wayne Tesfaye, much of your perspective is correct. However, what you are missing is what exists at ground level. The divisiveness of the FBA labeling and description came about out of necessity in order to survive, exist. Black Americans for several decades strained, actually begging many times for unity with all ethnic groups of color, especially Africans from the motherland, because we have been on our own for hundreds of years, and because we know the value and the need for unity for our survival. That was the reason that FBAs fought, died in the struggle to change laws so other people of color could come, unite, and help. But
Okay, for that me not understand. There's so much. This is the one who invented this. This man is not 60 years old. What struggle? I don't understand. As we proceed, people.
they, FBAs, faced from those who have come were constant and forever belittling insults, labels, and facial looks of disgust, treating, speaking, looking down upon them, us, as though Black Americans are inferior. FBAs experienced.
And me not understand who are these people talking things that black people inferior when all look how much great people we may highlight. So who is saying those stuff? You can't say all Caribbean people have said that. If one and two people say something like that, we not all agree with them one and two people there. As we proceed, people.
From all groups that have fled to America. All of these fleeing groups have said, let the Negro fight his own battles. We do not want to align with them. These groups that flee from their lands come and say to the FBA, we do not care about your fight or your history. We have not come to fight. We have only come to make money and take care of our own. In essence, we do not care about this country or anything in it except for what we can drain and take from.
Listen, how could somebody write something like that? That coming like one fiction and it's a fiction. You make me choke people. That sound like one fiction when it never sound like one fiction. It never makes sense. It never makes sense, people. Oh, that makes sense. Somebody gonna come here and say we just come here for take and go about to business and we not care about Uno. Who say that?
Essence, we do not care about this country or anything in it except for what we can drain and take from it for our own purposes. The displaying of their various country flags show this. I have personally been told this to my face, even recently before President Donald Trump's mass deportations. This causes and has caused great immense pain and humiliation within our community. We have given so much that they may come, and they turn their noses up at us. As Black Americans, we have developed a collective instinctive reaction response. We become hardened, as we have learned through hundreds of years without any help from the outside world, and that we must do this for survival against all who hurt us. These microaggressions permeate from those who flee throughout this land, so we have labeled them as cowards that have fled, wanting the proximity to whiteness.
Oh my God. So everybody flee them country, come America. Uh, this is how them people I think. Wow.
In order to obtain preferential treatment and favor above FBAs, and they have gotten it. So let's.
Wow. I wish black people got America go get better than American. You can't call that delusional, people. That sound delusional. We a step over them, forget what them forget. We not get nothing. I that them forget. We not get nothing, right? So if we not get nothing, they must forget nothing. Wow, them people, yeah. I never know. As seriously, I saw them people are really, really thinking.
Let's break down this email point by point. Let's start with point number 1. The divisiveness of FBA labeling came out of necessity for survival. First, let's acknowledge an undeniable fact. Black Americans have been fighting for their survival for centuries, often alone. The trauma of
And that match I show you. How can this man just come along and say, oh, we're a different breed of people? Me and the man talk say, oh, we invented everything. But like, you must be connected to those people who invented those stuff, and those people must be connected to somebody to connect it to somebody. So how can you chop off the roots and live on the limb? Wow. As we proceed, people. But me tell you, said the lady, she broke it down. Trust me.
trauma of slavery, Jim Crow.
Big heads up, everybody.
And that may try show you people the amount of things them we pass through. Right? The amount of things them we pass through as a race. How much place get burned down. Jesus. And this man come and say, oh, we're a different type of people. We're better. We deserve the same thing the people in command did say, no? Wow.
Slavery, Jim Crow, police brutality, and mass incarceration have forced African Americans to develop self-reliance and resilience in a way that is unique. No one is dismissing that. But here's the issue. Divisiveness is not survival. It's a reaction to pain and betrayal, but it's not a strategy for long-term power. If unity didn't work...
Okay, and at that, may I say, oh, you gonna say, are you gonna say, it's best for us to just gather up our little crew over here and then everybody for themselves? Right through history, we always have the people that will look for divide. But you see, people buy into them things there, right? I bet you might get support. Jesus. He's getting support, people.
It didn't work before, it's not because Black people across the diaspora weren't trying. It's because white supremacy has always deliberately kept us apart. The FBA response, instead of healing that division, is deepening it by turning on the very people who should be allies. So I challenge you, instead of saying we had to be divisive for survival, ask yourself, who benefits from that division? Because it surely isn't Black people. Let's get to the next point, number 2. FBAs fought and died so other people of color could come, unite, and help, but they never did. This statement assumes that Black immigrants have contributed nothing to the Black struggle in America, which is historically false. Caribbean immigrants...
Historically, at that match, how can this man just walk around and say these stuff and like, how can this man just say them things here? Right? How can this man just say them things here? Wow. That's crazy, people. As we proceed,
played a very important role in the civil rights movement. Take Kwame Ture, for instance, who is from Trinidad and who has played an important role in the civil rights movement and the global Pan-African movement. Or Marcus Garvey, one of the most influential Black leaders. and who happened to come from Jamaica. Or let's take Malcolm X, whose mother was from the Caribbean island Grenada. Let's not forget to talk about the
Grenada. You see, and that's why I say it's globally us people. Its greatness comes globally. I mean, talk about that before, and this someone I come and I said, no, 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 that can't be that can't be possible. And everywhere you look, you can find a hero or a shiro that put in the pot of change. As we proceed.
His mother was from the Caribbean island Grenada. Let's not forget to talk about the powerful and important role of African leaders like Kwame Nkrumah, the first president of independent Ghana, who was one of the most vocal African leaders in supporting the civil rights movement and black liberation in the United States. Kwame Nkrumah personally invited Martin Luther King to Ghana's independence celebrations in 1957. This visit profoundly impacted Martin Luther King, reinforcing his belief that Black people worldwide were part of a common struggle for freedom. Malcolm X was also welcomed in Ghana and met with Nkrumah, strengthening his Pan-African vision. Ghana was and continues to be a safe haven for African Americans. W.E.B. Du Bois moved to Ghana and was given Ghanaian citizenship.
You see that brother, you see that brother running from. You see? So this a man try and mash down a man thing, and then this a man run with our next country. Go get citizenship. Isn't it? That is so ironic, people. You see, we just swim through history, you know, and just connect the dot them people. Eh? This a man I tell the people them, oh no, we need arts, we need this, we need. Me definitely I forgot to I think upon that W.E.D. boy brother there, cause me not understand all the money at all them give him citizenship for. And this a money I say, oh, America is so great. Am I the first one who say make America great again? Oh, all of slogan they done all. As we proceed, people, dabbling through our history.
Ghanaian citizenship, where he worked on the Encyclopedia Africana until his death in 1963. And then let's not forget to talk about the support by Ethiopian Emperor Haile Selassie I. He was deeply respected by African American leaders, including Marcus Garvey.
Okay, he was deeply respected people, and we got you how Marcus Garvey yes, Selassie I only won one battle. He win one battle, he lose one battle, and then I don't know, people. Tell me, I'm gonna do a video on that, and that to me, that's he was respected by everybody. Everybody, yes, and just respect him as we proceed.
Malcolm X and members of the Nation of Islam. Ethiopia used its position in the United Nations to push against apartheid in South Africa and racial discrimination in the US. He was a key force in the formation of the Organization of African Unity, which worked to connect African struggles with Black liberation struggles worldwide. Historically, African Americans and Africans on the continent have always supported each other in their liberation struggle. When Italy invaded Ethiopia during the Second World War, so many African Americans signed up to volunteer to fight on the side of the Ethiopians against the invading colonial Italian army. However, eventually they were blocked from the US government. They were ready to die and fight for Ethiopia. Imagine that. However, one brother.
And they were blocked by the US government. And they were blocked. People, are you surprised? As we proceed,
made it Colonel John Robinson, the brown condor of Harlem. You should definitely research his mind-blowing, inspiring history. He was one of the very few African American black aviators of his time, and he showed solidarity with Ethiopia by volunteering as a fighter pilot and military advisor during Italy's invasion of Ethiopia in 1935, defying racial barriers and US neutrality policies. He helped train Ethiopian pilots, fought against Mussolini's forces, and symbolized African American support for anti-colonial
whoa,
neutrality policies. He helped train Ethiopian during Italy's invasion of Ethiopia in his time, and he showed solidarity with Ethiopia by volunteering as a fighter pilot and military advisor during Italy's invasion of Ethiopia in 1935. Showed wide. Historically, African Americans and Africans on the continent have always supported each other in their liberation struggle. When Italy invaded Ethiopia during the Second World War, so many African Americans signed up to volunteer to fight on the side of the Ethiopians against the invading colonial Italian army. However, eventually they were blocked from the US government. They were ready to die and fight for Ethiopia. Imagine that. However, one brother made it Colonel John Robinson, the brown condor.
Colonel Brown Johnson. Colonel Brown Johnson. Colonel Brown Johnson.
Harlem. You should definitely and fight the Ethiopians against the invading colonial Italian army. However, eventually they were blocked from the US government. They were ready to die and fight for Ethiopia. Imagine that. However, one brother made it Colonel John Robinson, the brown condor of
John Robinson.
Harlem. You should
Colonel John Robinson. My bad. Colonel John Robinson. Him are the only one who defy order of US and go down there. I tell you, say people, even in this we find one hero different from what them people are talking about, right? Him are the only man we broke.
research his mind-blowing, inspiring history. He was one of the very few African American black aviators of his time, and he showed solidarity with Ethiopia by volunteering as a fighter pilot and military advisor during Italy's invasion of Ethiopia in 1935, defying racial barriers and US neutrality policies. He helped train Ethiopian pilots, fought against Mussolini's forces, and symbolized African American support for anti-colonial struggles in Africa. Not just historically, African people continue to support the Black liberation struggle in the USA and are actively involved in racial justice movements. Many activists that fight against racism and oppression in America are of Caribbean and African descent. In cities like Minneapolis, where George Floyd was murdered, Ethiopian and Somali communities were on the front lines of the protests. And even in Ethiopia, I was in Addis Ababa at that time, Ethiopians came together to mourn the murder and the death of George Floyd and came together in solidarity with their Black brothers and sisters in America. The idea that FBAs were left to fight alone ignores centuries of African and Caribbean.
Yes, people. Just the way them talk and the way them come on. It's like there's no history except their history. And that is so wrong. That is so wrong, people. And by the way, people, on a side note, on that thing, them Elon Musk must see a look for pardon the police brother they were box up George Floyd, you know. I don't know how true it is, but again, I'm not into the sensational stuff, but it's like, you know, that's what them are looking into. So at that match I show you when them people make them decision. When they make them decision, we can't go. There's no we can't. Them can't protest against it. But when them people decide to do whatever they do, them just do it. As we proceed, people, past, present, and future not change much, unless we change it as we proceed.
Idea that FBAs were left to fight alone ignores centuries of African and Caribbean solidarity in Black liberation movements and is simply not supported by history. African nations provided sanctuary, funding, and diplomatic pressure to assist Black struggles in the US. Pan-African leaders recognized the shared fight for Black liberation, understanding that oppression in the US was linked to colonialism and apartheid in Africa. Without Africa's contributions, the civil rights movement and Black power movements would have been much weaker. Could there be more unity? Of course, but erasing contributions because of a few bad experiences, that's not historical accuracy. That's emotional reasoning. So the question to those who push the FBA ideology is this: if African people and African leaders have fought for and supported Black liberation movements in the US, why continue pushing division instead of solidarity? Let's get to the next point. Point number 3. Black immigrants look down on FBAs and want proximity to whiteness. This argument is rooted in personal experience, not systemic reality. Yes, some immigrants have internalized anti-Blackness. Unfortunately, that's a colonial legacy that exists in most places in the world. In Africa, in the Caribbean, in Latin America. But so have many African Americans and people identifying as foundational Black Americans. There is a reason why colorism, classism, and internalized racism exists within all Black communities, including the US. Yes, it's true, some immigrants distance themselves from African Americans. But let's be real, many FBAs do the same thing. If we are keeping it honest, many FBAs hold negative stereotypes about Africans, calling them jungle people, booty scratchers, mocking their accents, or dismissing them as fresh off the boat. I have seen so many.
Yes, I remember. Fresh off of the boat. They used to call you anytime I come to Canada. Fresh off of the boat. um, People, it don't change, It doesn't change. Are the same thing. So when them people say certain things, it's just them just a look on it just one way. Cause me not say, oh, somebody that got teach you if you hate somebody will look like you, and that makes sense. As we proceed, people,
So many stand-up comedy shows where African Americans were mocking Africans. I mean, just take a look at this nonsense.
that wave name there, Um, um, Jamie Foxx. And say Jamie Foxx can do all kind of impression and all of them things there. That's true. Them do it for joke. But them not make fun of American like that there. I'm just saying in this situation, it's comedy, and I think it's not, but it's tough on the part there, right? Because them say in a comedy you can't, it's a joke if you can't take a joke. They make fun of Jamaican even upon living colors, me talk about them. You have 10 job, man. So yes. So this part is kind of iffy. I don't think he's being disrespectful, right? As we proceed. People, when I say me look on it, I have to look on it close. And sometimes when you look on it up close, it hurts. But as we proceed.
You know what's fucked up? African people don't like black people. Y'all know they treat us like shit. They talk down to us. They think they're better than us. And I don't understand.
Okay, and this guy, I don't think he's funny anyways. Like a spear. Honestly, I don't think he's funny. I think he's, well, again, it's like that's my personal choice. I don't think Sam funny. That's also, I don't think he's a funny comedian. As we proceed, people.
From the same tribe, kind of. But they like white people, though. They treat y'all like family.
Put this on.
And that's what I'm trying to show you, though. It's like, when you say certain things, that it's like crossing the border. You have to be, I'm gonna say you can't say anything you want to say, no, but I know anything you have to say. Right? We have a mind where our unlimited ability, we can say anything, but it's not anything our unlimited ability is supposed to create. It's not supposed to create death and destruction, hate, greed, and envy, them things there. So just like that, I know anything if you say. And it's how you say it. If you say it in a disrespectful way, because I remember them used to have them African commercial there with flies on the kids and them things that used to make me sick. And I say, oh, them just a show we in them like there, and a big money. And most of the money, 95% of the money, don't go to the people them where them say it's supposed to go to. And then find out say I lie them at because you don't see them commercial no more. I'm just telling you, people. As we detail them things, you know, some part of it rough, some part of it, we just have to understand.
You know, they treat y'all like family. As soon as y'all come around, they get excited. Excuse me, Mr. White Man. Thank you for bringing us here. We love you. Yay, the white man.
If we want to fix this, the solution is not more
Yeah, that was kind of, you know, trust me. But that brother, you're not funny anyways. Because him did not some, trust me. Them people are not fit that match I share. Them people are talk about other people and them have so much issues. I'm telling you, once we start pointing fingers at each other, it's never gonna be a conversation. I tell you how dangerous contempt is, you know. As we proceed, people.
It's confronting anti-blackness wherever it exists, whether in the Caribbean, in Africa, or among African Americans. Let's get to the next point. Point number 4. Black immigrants just want to make money and don't care about the fight. This argument is reductionist and misleading. If FBAs really want to understand why African immigrants focus on making money instead of activism, they need to understand how the US has actively destroyed Africa through imperialism. Let's take the assassination of Patrice Lumumba, for instance. Patrice Lumumba was the first democratically elected leader of the Congo. The US and Belgium orchestrated his assassination because he wanted to keep Congo's resources out of Western hands. His death led to decades of dictatorship and resource exploitation. And
you see, at that them want, you know, that's the key right there. That's the key right there, so. We can't have it. We want everything for ourselves.
Pattern repeated itself across the African continent. The US supported apartheid South Africa, keeping Nelson Mandela in prison, and the CIA helped overthrow Ghana's Kwame Nkrumah. African economies were crippled by IMF and World Bank policies designed to keep them dependent. So when African immigrants come to the US to work hard and build wealth, it's often because their home countries were robbed by the same American system that oppresses African Americans. I mean, let's be real. Why should African immigrants feel guilty for simply wanting a better life when the US played a key role in keeping Africa underdeveloped. Some FBAs call African immigrants cowards for fleeing their country. But let's be real.
Yeah, that's a strong word. Well, I'm not telling you say things that we said to each other. Sharp knife, sharp tongue. As we proceed, people.
For a second. If you lived in a war-torn country or a collapsed economy, wouldn't you leave for a better future? This doesn't mean they hate FBAs. It means they are survivors, just like the enslaved Africans who survived the Middle Passage. You know, when Africans come to America, their first instinct is survival, not because they don't care about Black struggles, but because they are literally trying to lift their families out of generational poverty. Let's get to the next point. Number 5, the lie that FBAs are indigenous to America. Many FBA supporters now push the outrageous claim that they are indigenous to the US and that some of them were in America before the transatlantic slave trade, as if they.
Okay, so even if, like, how can you say, all right, how can you say, right? You were here before every existence that ever existed. That doesn't make no sense because the Indians were here, like the original Indians were here, and the original Indian them, right? They mix with some of the slave them, and them create a tribe for themselves. I listened to that story already. So that may I say, how can Uno be here before everybody and still exist now and don't have no say tribe or anything like that? Speak your own language, have your own writing. You're speaking English. You're speaking English. If you're here before everybody else, you'd have a language already created to communicate with your people. And when English come along now, you guys would incorporate English in our own language, but you know still would have no language. So even if you come here, okay, before say the slave transatlantic slave trade, right? If you came before that, say per canoe, where did you come from though? Where did you come from? Come and say it's not like you did exist before the Indians, and if you never exist before the Indians, you must exist after the Indians. And if you exist after the Indians, where did you come from? So the way them attack is like say them just spring up like water, and they're the best water. They're not connected to no spring. They're not connected to no nothing at all. No rain, nothing. Just as we proceed, people, come to the center and look and see. Many people have a different agenda. As we proceed, people.
Some of them were in America before the transatlantic slave trade, as if they have no connection to Africa. Let's be clear.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, go on, lady.
This is the highest form of self-hate. Genetic and historical evidence confirms that African Americans are of African descent, primarily from West and Central Africa. There is not a single evidence of a massive Black indigenous population in the US before the 15th century.
Okay, and that's exactly what I said. If them not exist before the Indian them were did there when the people then come over, right? And them not speak a different language, because I listen to this man and this man speaks English. And him born in a Detroit, right? So if you guys don't have a different language, a different culture, and part of it still exists. How can you say on one totally different race? And this material says these are some of the confusion, and people actually, if you actually go and say anything to these people is gonna disrespect you and talk to you like you're nobody. Because again, I heard the conversation this man was having. But when you look at everything though, everything where him say, he must say that in a public and other people say, yes, that's right, that's right, that's right. But when go back to Africa show in the room, right? When him show in the room, just like the okay, my President Obama was at the inauguration. But when you're looking at the room, did you see FDA representation in there? I didn't see any representation of FDA or FBA. FBA. It's fundamental, foundational Black American. Yeah, me never seen no foundational Black Americans in that the room there. All I saw was not us. As we proceed, people come tell us, me say time I hear the talking and me say me did want to look on the highlight cause now we are highlight it and see which part him a come from and all kind of big word them calling Mr. Janus and all kind of word that we can't pronounce. Meanwhile, this lady is just breaking it down in English and speaking facts. As we proceed,
before the 15th century. And the evidence that some of the FBAs bring are ridiculous, hilarious. Like recently, I saw this post.
4.
ridiculous, hilarious. That is the true description of how this Amania sound, right? But again, this man open up a museum, right, of Black great people, and I recommend, I commend him for that because I heard it talk about before, and he actually did accomplish that, right? But when he's saying these stuff, all I'm saying, all he sounds like is just a separatist. And I'm saying we're all different under the same umbrella. So why you have to think them ways here? As we proceed, people.
Recently, I saw this post.
What the post say? No.
I just shake my head. I just shake my head. Let's just leave it there, okay?
Hold on.
The truth is,
No. She has said, how are cornrows African? Oh, the Wims people. When cornrow is indigenous to America. So I guess for him explanation of the cornrow is that how they plant the corn and it's in a row. People, I wish we could have do all of them graphic there and pull up them thing up on screen and show, because I'm telling you, say sometimes. No, sir. People, I'm telling you, say history is so beautiful, it's so amazing. And history is us. Anytime I have my 1 year anniversary of this, I just have to play back all of the things that when I go through and listen and just. Because I'm telling you, people can create any ridiculous things, right? And put it together and sell it, right? Santa Claus. And people buy it. And people buy it. And I stop buying it. It's ridiculous. People, I love this history. I love this. I love finding these stories because I tell you, say, the agenda is always there, people. It's not for us to be free. It's for us to think we're free. I'm gonna tell you, say, people is out there putting in the fight as we proceed.
I just shake my head. I just shake my head. Let's just leave it there, okay? The truth is, the transatlantic slave trade forcibly brought millions of Africans to the Americas. This is not up for debate, fam, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. In my humble opinion, this narrative is nothing more than an attempt to erase African ancestry. The very thing that white supremacy has always tried to do. I mean, if FBAs believe they were always in America, why are there DNA results linking them to Ghana, Nigeria, Senegal, Congo, and Angola? This is not Black empowerment, fam. I'm sorry to say, but this is Black and African erasure.
Okay, and that's what I'm saying though. They should be speaking a totally different language to every language, right? Because if me and you communicate like how we used to do with the smoke, and same thing with them say with the Ashanti tribe, them take with the drum them because them used to use the drum, right? And we used to talk, communicate with the drum, right? So when they take with the drum now, we have to find other means of communication. But what did they take away from these people if these people has been here all the time? Wow. So these people can come on YouTube for 6, 7, 8 hours, berate, disrespect people, and everything with them talk about don't make no sense. I love it. I love it. I love it. This is so funny. As we proceed, people.
Arrive in the Americas before the arrival of Columbus? Definitely. If you want to learn more about that, study the massive expedition of King Abubakari II of Mali.
Abubakari. Abubakari. I like that name there. Abubakari. Abubakar. Abubakari. The second. And then them just put the second. Abubakari. The second. Musically. All right, so I can look him up to find out what I go on. Because at that, I said, if there was people, I'm a Google it already. There was people before existed before Christopher Columbus or the slave trade, right? And them people there, again, they like they merge with the Indian people them and they become a different like race. And that Mr. that mother want I'm telling you, there's so much branch of everything, but all of these come from the roots of us. So them people are now I chop down the roots, I dig up the roots and just I live on the limb. When them a live on the limb, all them a do a talk good and a talk beautiful language. The same thing we talk about with Booker T when when me tell you said this man yeah, oh the boy come in and start talk with the 10. What them call themselves again? People me tell you say it's like a one big story, you know. It's like say everything is so connected. It's so connected. The few what they call themselves? The talented 10. So me have to go Google them and find out who the talented 10. Because obviously it must have been some lawyers will go around and speak and everybody go, wow, I tell you how the politician them well before them used to work, them flinging a big word in the whole sentence, it don't make no sense. But what a person like me who know no, we never got basic school, hear the big word now and just collaborate it somewhere, like say it have meaning to the whole sentence, but not no meaning in the first place. So that's why I tell you past, present, and future, it doesn't change unless we change it. I am loving it as we proceed.
Hari II of Mali, who arrived in America approximately 200 years before Columbus. And I visited the island of St. Vincent it was in 2018, where I met the chief of the Garifuna people, who are believed to be descendants of this expedition out of Mali to the Americas, and who have intermarried and mixed with the indigenous Carib population. And out of this peaceful encounter between the Caribs, the indigenous people of America, and the Africans from Mali, came these beautiful people that we know today as the Garifuna people.
See the Garifuna. The Garifuna. People, them name me sound so beautiful. The Garifuna people. Garina. Gary. Garina. Funa. The Garifuna. The Garifuna. The Garifuna people. See, we can find great people. Them people that come before the Christopher Columbus people. Them. We can find out what language them. What language them speak. Wow, I'm telling us everything. This is why I'm telling us this is so important for just open up the book them and see the big connection. It's like one big spider web, like when I did that talk about from the beginning, you know? And the actual spider web are come together, people. Oh, me find them people here. Look there. Me find it. Look how me find the connection to this connection. Because these people, this are the F. All right, me can found them foundational Black American, right? Them deny everything about everything else, and them people and this lady just highlight the fact. Say, look at how much connection. Look how much people she call out in a 20 minutes, people. Look how much Malcolm X she call out. I'm say Kwame Onu Okuno, right? Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. Jesus, look how much people she call out just by one people are deny everything. Somebody have to come out and say, wait a minute. And that may I try showing the people. This is why I'm so excited about all of this, you know. This is why I'm so excited about all of this. Because one person come out and say, oh, that's not real. This is not real. And we have 100,001 ways to say, no, it's real. As we proceed, people, I'm telling you, so the channel is, her name is Winnie Tesfa. Winnie Tesfa. She have a YouTube channel. And again, she said already she travel all over the place and she's a cultural. If you know want social media influencer, she want social media influencer, yeah. Mother call she want social media. Well, no, mother call her a historian media influencer because, you know, she'll come with the facts. As we proceed, people.
Culture reflects a unique blend between African and indigenous influences, and they continue to fight for land rights and cultural preservation. Despite centuries of displacement, the Garifuna remain a resilient and vibrant community. There are similar cases in the US, like, for instance, the Black Seminoles, where indigenous...
Yes, I'm going to say that before to the Black Seminoles. Yes, them integrated with the Indian people, them. Would I like to find out which part them live? I'm telling us that people, we can't just open up any book and just find out anything. Just like this, yeah. And see the connection. As we proceed, people, as we proceed.
mixed with Africans, with enslaved Africans who were shipped to the Americas. However, while the Garifuna people proudly embrace their African ancestry, some FBAs, on the other hand, claim they have no ties, no connection to Africa, which is, as I have said earlier, in my opinion, the highest form of self-hate. Last but not least, point number 7, the victim mentality in FBA rhetoric. Very problematic. One of the biggest problems with the FBA ideology is that it thrives on a victim mentality, blaming everyone, including Africans, for their struggles instead of focusing on solutions and unity. Also, I noticed a widespread belief among African Americans and especially among FBAs that Africans hate them. All I can say about this false claim is please visit the African continent and make your own experience. I promise you, you will feel the love, you will feel welcomed, you will feel accepted, and you will feel valued, celebrated. Please visit the African continent and make your own experience. This is
Yo, look, I want to big up my people them in a Ghana right now. Enjoy on the trip, yeah, sir. The whole family and everything. Thank you for the picture. Thank you for the invitation, but me, I know the ticket business go already. Not true, people. Big up on yourself. I'm telling you already, so I love the way you know, as a family, you know, just. Can I say, you know, make me proud? Because at the same time, I see some things and people not see it. And the ones that we do see it and implement it, of course, you're going to feel good when you see the end result, knowing that's going to be the end result. Big up on yourself, Mr. Pink and him family. As we proceed, people.
one of the most vicious lies that I've heard in my life, in my entire life, and I can guarantee you, this is by design. This vicious lie has been spread to keep us apart, to keep us from uniting and from building together. You need to stop this constant talk about how much we gave and how little we received in return from African immigrants and Caribbean people, because it ignores the fact that the Black struggle is global, fam. It's global. African Americans have suffered. Yes, nobody is denying that. But they have also benefited from African labor, African resources, and African political support. Plus, believe me when I say this victim perpetrator binary doesn't help anyone. In fact, for some people, it's inconceivable that victims can be perpetrators too. Liberia is a perfect example of this. Liberia was founded in 1821 by
Liberia was founded in 1821. Lie. 1821. All right, people. As we proceed,
African Americans with the support of the American Colonization Society, an organization established by white Americans, many of whom were slaveholders who sought to solve the problem of freed Black people in the US by relocating them to Africa. The American Colonization Society promoted colonization as a way to rid the US of free Black populations, whom they viewed as a threat to the institution of slavery in the US. Many African Americans supported colonization as a chance to escape systemic racism in the US and build a society where they could be free from white oppression. However, their settlement brought them into conflict with the indigenous African population who had already lived there.
okay, and people. Jesus. Oh my goodness. Is this happening anywhere else in the anywhere in the world? As oh my goodness. Wow. Wow. So then people just bring people, go fling upon people, start conflict. And this them do all the time. Oh my goodness. I am shocked. I am I am so shocked. I am so shocked just to hear said them people do this. Jesus. Now anytime I tell me say how me feel about this life is just feel like I want it just feel like one loop. It just feel like one loop, people. The loop, the loop, the loop, the loop, the loop. Oh my goodness. So you mean to tell me someone could have opened up them books here for so long? Or did I understand how to open the book? Encouragement. Oh my goodness, people. No, sir. As we proceed, people. Me need some water. Me really need some water. As we proceed, breathe in, breathe out, people.
African Americans, known as Americo-Liberians, settled in Liberia. They established a society that mirrored the racial and class hierarchies they had experienced in the United States, effectively dominating and exploiting the indigenous African population.
Wow. Wow. People, me need to if you go look upon all the people them dress up and looking all fancy. E.D. Dubois. The same thing. Jesus. So them dress up and talk good. Cause the US implant them with them US mentality. Things say them better than the people that live there. Wow. I will the man a wear gloves? A gloves the man a wear. No. I no gloves. I no gloves that. A gloves the man a wear. People. The man dress up all in a fancy thing and gloves same way. Wow. You see, now she open this a book here, now I can go looking at them a book here. And open up more books and more books. Wow, people. So them drop them in Africa with all of them American mentality, they must be served. I cause conflict with the people that live there. Take a deep breath, people. Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath, people. Come tell us them story here where me I find. Them no normal. These books, them book are no normal. As we proceed, people.
Americo-Liberians established agricultural plantations where they used the forced labor of indigenous Africans, essentially replicating the plantation system that African Americans had escaped in the US. So, what
Oh my goodness, people. Let me tell you, Jesus. So we used to it. I know me I get to understand. So we used to treating with each other them ways, yeah. That's something we used to. Cause a long time we are do it. That's something we used to people treating each other that way, yeah. You see, last night when we do Rosewood and the professor talk when he got the place and the man see him on the property and come start talk to him and how him talk to him. What you doing here, boy? That's so we talk to each other, you know. Long time we do it. Are we aware of it though? I will just accept it. That's why I say these things when I want to understand them things here. Because you see, if we have so much greatness, why are we failing? As we proceed.
Solution. Surely it's Pan-Africanism and unity and not more division. How can we overcome the division? By stop blaming each other, by stop pointing fingers at each other and understanding how our histories, slavery, the transatlantic slavery on the one side and colonialism on the other, are deeply entangled with each other. I want to give you an example how. Imagine the same ships by the British Navy that patrolled the West African coast, allegedly to suppress the transatlantic slave trade, were the same ships, the same British Navy ships that the British Empire used to conquer and to overthrow African kings and African empires with the goal to colonize them. This example perfectly illustrates how our struggles for liberation and histories of trauma and violence are interconnected and inseparably linked with each other. So please, Africans who have a false sense of superiority and look down on African Americans because they are the descendants of enslaved Africans, you're so wrong. Like, this is so immoral. You yourself, your ancestors have been colonized. Stop saying African Americans do not have a culture when our own cultures on the African continent have been deeply influenced by colonialism. We speak French at schools and universities, or English. I mean, Ethiopia is an exception here. However, we also experienced imperialism in Ethiopia, even though the imperialists had the same skin color like us. And we have also experienced occupation. Some call it colonization. So to believe that African Americans have no culture and that Africans still preserve a pure form of their culture is wrong. It's not true. The colonization of the African countries has influenced us in very negative ways, and it's important that we also acknowledge that. And the same applies to African Americans or foundational Black Americans, however you identify yourself. This false sense of superiority that some of y'all show towards their African brothers and sisters shows that you also have been deeply brainwashed. And I don't even blame you, because I grew up in Germany. I grew up in the West. I grew up consuming Western media. And I have seen the same images that you have seen, that Africa is always portrayed as the continent that suffers, that is in constant civil war and conflict and experiences a never-ending cycle of violence, hunger, starvation.
See, they portray. I tell you them video that we used to dip on TV. I mean, always I ask myself, what them people I show them? How come some people I show them video like, and then people are have it on for like hours and hours and hours. And them are, anything you can donate, $50, $100, you can adopt a kid and you can. But them places always have gold, always have diamond, always. Even to today, it have them things there. As we proceed, people, this is no TikTok. All right.
Cycle of violence, hunger, starvation, you name it. I'm not denying that these things are happening. They are happening. However, this is just one side of the story. So come to the African continent and see the other side. And most importantly, stop playing the victim. At the end of the day, this FBA ideology and narrative does nothing but weaken Black people globally. If FBAs truly want power, they should align with Africa, Latin America, and the Caribbean. The focus on distinction between FBA and Black immigrants can weaken solidarity in addressing systemic racism, which affects all Black people, regardless of origin. Historically, colonial and racist systems used divide and conquer tactics to pit subgroups against each other, undermining collective action. So if FBAs claim to fight white supremacy, they should stop mimicking its divisive tactics. Look, I believe it's important that this movement recognizes the unique experiences of African Americans. And Africans should do this too. They should appreciate the struggle and what African Americans have built and the sacrifices that they have made. But FBAs should try to build bridges with other Black communities, African immigrants, Caribbean immigrants, Latin American immigrants, what have you, and frame reparations as a specific justice initiative rather than a broader contest over identity or legitimacy.
Wow, yo, this lady, she's just hitting it out of the ballpark, you know. When me say, we must create solutions. It's within us to create the solution to the problems. We shouldn't be arguing over the problem. And just the way she took it one by one and explained wasn't disrespectful. So you can get your point across without being disrespectful. We're not talking about hating anybody. She never said hate anybody. Where did she say hate anybody? She talks about collectively, us, like minded people, instead of being a separatist. That's why I'm going to say the same thing. There's so much people on YouTube who has their own agenda. And I've come to understand certain things. So me learning and understanding me good over here, so. Because guess what? The same time you're there by yourself, people leave you alone. But when you get in the mix up, you have to go solve too much problem. So I'm not talk to nobody in specific or anybody like that. If anybody say, oh, I'm me attack. No. I'm talking about educating each other and having a certain standard. If you said this is something where we can be proud of, instead of just grab up anything and everything and say, yes, you never know us, that's how we do it. No, I know how we do it. If you want to turn the culture inside out and everything else, you got dead left something that's not worth nothing. So I rather sit here for the next 10, 20, 30 years, 40, 50, 60 years just seeing our greatness and stick over here so. Because I'm learning so much. And are the things then where we're supposed to learn. As we proceed, people,
A broader contest over identity or legitimacy. Trust me, it's possible and it's necessary to embrace solidarity in fighting structural racism while maintaining focus on the uniqueness of the FBA experience. This balance ensures the movement uplifts FBA descendants without reinforcing the divisions imposed by colonialist and white supremacist systems. That's it. These are my thoughts. Let me
people, me telling you, say this lady, me, this is the first thing me listen from her. She has other things on her YouTube channel. Because she monetize and she get her thing them. Trust me, I'm telling you, say, I'm not gonna promote things where I not like, right? I'm not gonna promote things where I don't agree with. I tell you, so we not have to agree with everything, you know. It's not for us to agree with everything. But you see, once we have understanding and it makes sense, and we not have to squeeze it in a one bucket for it makes sense. At this summer day, I don't wanna be anywhere else. Come and tell us, I'm rather hang out with the smart people them and learn something than hang out with the idiot them or them treat you like one idiot. Cause the only thing them are gonna do is disrespect you. Them are gonna call you this name and call you that name, and no matter how much time you tell them, well, don't call me that, them are gonna call you even more. Not understanding so what them are do is hurting you. If you don't like something, where you give to somebody else for? I just say sometimes people, I always there by myself and sometimes some more time I want to hear something that makes sense, but there's none out there. And if I can spend an hour and 2 hours and listen to something that makes sense and share something that makes sense, I'm all up for that. Because I would definitely love if somebody did do that for me, if you say, all right, tonight we are gonna run that program and this is the program we are run and I can listen and go and write down and write down and write down. Instead of just a click on and a click off and a click on and a click off. There's no progressiveness there, so. So people, I'm telling you, say, a yellow month, you know, and I'm say if you don't have nothing good for share, you can always share a smile. Or some people choose for share nothing except despair. I say that, I mean, not stop say it. Some people don't have nothing good to share because them don't have nothing good to share with themselves. Self-love are the best thing they can share with themselves. But I tell you, say them hate themselves so they can't ever do that. These things, I tell you, say people nah go like the things them, but they need to be said. Some people don't like themselves and then take it out on other people. And the reason I'm not show my ugly face because people are gonna take out and first, oh look how you're ugly, oh you ugly, 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 ugly. Me know that's one thing them are gonna say all the oh you ugly, 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 ugly. Yes, me know me ugly. But guess what? I have something to say. And it makes sense. Makes sense, people. Alright, so we just a drop a 15 minutes. I have some just because you see exactly where this lady I talk about say the roots and the culture that we have and we're not supposed to attack with nothing for anybody, right? I'm telling you, say the people that want me subscribe to are the people that want me share. I'm talk about Professor Griff already, and I'm have him on YouTube channel. I'm listen to him anytime I'm having program them. I'm say I want to do a highlight on him personally because I don't know him, but just listening to him, he's part of the hip hop culture, right? And he's a old school, one of them people that we don't take no crap, right? So what I'm talk about is the culture where enough people say there's no culture. What's black culture, right? I'm gonna tell you, say you're a culture. You're cultured to be somebody, right? So what is black culture? So it shouldn't even be what is black culture. What is culture? Culture is your greatness. Anything where you produce, authentic, original. That's the essence of culture. That's why I say them crave it so much. So if you write something 5 years down the line, you probably can sell it for $100,000. Depends on how you say it, your feelings, your song, your poem. That's the culture of us. And that are the essence of us also. But just because we don't want to talk about these things, we don't want to understand these things, we choose to ignore them. Right? So, well, I tell you something, you know, you know, I rather do like a like a highlight on this rather than because I tell you say it's not. I don't want to make it in a one TikTok thing where it's 5 minutes and people don't take time to listen and understand. Because I'm telling you, the key thing is listening and understanding, asking question for clarity, no confusion, right? So I say, I don't mind the people that come and go because the people that come and go, they don't understand. The people that must stay are the people that understand, right? And that's the key. We must understand. As we proceed, people, I tell you sometimes I sit down in front of them information, yeah. It's like me never want to get up, because the information is right there. And it's so amazing. And all I have to do is just highlight them and show the greatness of each and every one of them. There's always more people. Trust me, there's so much more. Always more people.